So you can take your top 5 list, dead or alive, and put him after M. All right. This is an ether bonding symbol. It's like particles swirling around particles, keeps it all. Yeah. Boom. Energies, lady. Why am I starting with this? Probably because I just did a video, it didn't work. Because I had the sound off. But I don't have the sound off now. So, let's have a gaze at the next one. Crazy fun stuff. Here we go. Okay. So, I got two things here. Whether or not this is real, who knows? But this is all the information I've received in the last couple of years, mostly from dreams. 7 layers of the heavens, or the heaven. Heaven? I don't know. Well, basically, it's split between. I think the highest heaven, and then the rest of the realms. And then it comes down to this physical universe. And here in the center, you've got pretty much this. But the open flow form of this. So my argument is, in the center of this universe, I believe there exists a permeate star. Not a star like we know that gives out light, but it gives out something similar to dark matter that creates all the space in the universe, which actually keeps matter separate from matter. Like otherwise, it'll all just be bunched up together. So what people don't realize is, if I think the Big Bang did happen, but it was a conscious movement created from outside this dimension to give this universe form. What it was is there was a bunch of energy, and it was pushed out by something. I don't think it was an explosion caused by nothing. I think it was pushed out by this force of energy that we now define as empty space. What we don't realize is empty space is not empty space. In every empty space, anywhere we call empty space, there exists an infinite amount of energy. And this energy is actually what defines form, matter, all of existence. This black light gives form to all existence. Now, it gives form by allowing the spaces in between particles and waveforms to exist, so that it's not all just one ball of density. And by spreading it out, it allows things within there to shape and take form, and each of them to have a different vibrational rate and all this kind of stuff. This is my theory about how the universe is created from the heavens, by conscious minds. And it's not a perfect design because they're exploring the concept of physicality. I believe this universe has been destroyed before and reconstructed completely, and that anyone who was aware of it probably would have understood it as a dream, or some concept of an alternate reality or some strange thing like this. And I believe that the universe is manifested in breaths by the progressive will and understanding of what we know as the God or the gods or the Ophanim and the Lord Most High, however you want to call it, the Deva. What are you, these beings of light that exist in the place beyond here that creates and shapes this world? Um, I think I had the science of not only how to understand how this universe was made from there by them, but I believe that I have the science of possibly the how to access in a way or create guess you could say a medium of a place where we could essentially speak to these beings, this god, physically. It would take a semblance of form that we could understand. Something about a dream that I had about this whole layers of the heavens and physical universe, these permanent dark stars that are in five different places around the universe, around which light stars operate and rotate. Um, now, hold up, find an appropriate song for this. The closest star that we rotate around would probably be the central one. It, they're all in groups of fives. People think they're in groups of twos. They're in groups of five. That's why I've got five on my arm tattooed as a reminder. The structure of form. Because people always say that form is masculine and thought, since it's fluid, is feminine. So five is the number of man. It's masculine. It's form. It's structure. This is so. It's not in twos that our stars rotate. It's in fours. Like where you'd see an atom or whatever these things are, nucleus with the things, protons, electrons spinning around it, very similar. But these, you've got a permanent star here with our systems rotating around it, and there's a bunch of other ones that rotate around this permanent star in the middle here. And I believe these are dark stars, like a black sun rather than a yellow or orange sun or a green sun or a blue sun. It would seem to be a black sun, and so you it would absorb, or it would seem to absorb all light around it, but it's actually letting out a different kind of energy, which is not light, and kind of would seem to be absorbing light. But life would be able to exist in these places the same as it would does here, probably just as functional, if not more, because I believe that the energy that pours out from these things wouldn't just be the energy of space, because it would be the base form energy, what all planets and stars form from. These are the pillars of existence, is what I believe, and so I believe that it's possible this is very true, because of all the shit that I saw, the most important thing was this, talking about the ether densities at the base form of all things. And I remember seeing something in quantum physics at a really base level, like near quarks or something. What they found is that all little triangles, up and down triangles in clusters, and that defined how some energy interlock to make physicality. I figured this must be similar to what that is. The each bit inside of these tiny microscopic particles or subatomic particles, they're made up of these little triangles, in each their formation of however many they have and what direction they sit in. You know, depend on what that particle is. Funny thing is, if you go down to one layer more, you'll see something which is what causes the arrangement of these little micro particles, subatomic, whatever particles. And that's this dark light waveform, which basically, I believe, creates the bonding between and the space between all actual matter. When it's condensed, like all waveforms, it becomes a stronger, like a light sound matter. This is just my theory. I'm not a smart dude. I don't know lots of stuff, but I believe that if we were to figure out how to affect this basic energy, whatever it is, we would be able to figure out how to move things like matter and stuff and create matter rather than having to destroy it for fuels and stuff. We could add to the universe rather than taking from it. I haven't figured it out yet or how any of this makes sense, but ever since I had the first set of dreams and everything, I've been coming across lots and lots of different, what seems to be kind of parallel ideas. I guess some people would take them as confirmations, but unless I find actual proof, I don't really have concept of confirmation. But yeah. Also, through all these realizations, I realized other than tracking of rotations around rotations, there is no time. It's just the perception of movement of a body through space, and so all there is space. And that's pretty interesting. It's just space and decay. And if we could fix decay, which doesn't seem that complicated, then time would stop existing. And all we would have is space and experience, and that'd be amazing. So, yeah, I, like I said, I use a lot of this for creative writing material. Some of it's interesting, some of it's weird. I'm not sure what to believe about anything in the universe, but figure with all the cool weird shit going on in the universe, somebody might like to see this and be like slightly interested in it. Because yeah, there's like layers of detail to this stuff. I'll probably do more of it later, but I'm a bit out of it at the moment, so still felt it really needed to be shared. Because I had a conversation with somebody today, and they have this idea that it's possible that space may not exist the way we believe it, and yeah, I think that's possible. But at the same time, I've been having dreams for years about leaving this planet and actually going and seeing things, and for a long time, a lot of the things that I would see, I thought were crazy until the one thing that happened where I had this dream was like, oh yeah, that energy wave is now coming from the center of the universe, from the black sun. I said it to my mate. A year later, the Earth started getting hit with these X waves. It was all over the internet, and they said it was cosmic radiation coming from the center of the universe somewhere. And the strangest thing is I saw it coming a year before it reached us, before they could see it in the machines and everything. And I knew it was coming from the center of this universe, from the center of all existence. They're from this dark star, and I can't explain how I know, but I knew it that time, and I might be wrong about all the rest of this, but I was right about that. So I figured it's possible to share the rest of this with you might be important. Also, part of all of this weirdness is that at some point, one of the previous universes, when it got collapsed, somebody decided to condense it into a holdable form, and there's been all sorts of weird cults and religion wars all across the universe, and even here on this planet around this cube. Um, Strangely enough, somehow it originates here on this planet, and the concept of it does too. Um, it's bizarre. But yeah, this um, a lot of this stuff came to me with the Digerat and all these weird memories of this thing. I guess you would explain as the rice, which means the journey, and people preparing for a journey into space, making alternate energy power sources so they didn't have to have fuel, and a whole bunch of other things that ended up, I found out, ended up being quite real as well. And a group of people here, even on Earth, that has something to do with this black stone cube thing, even had to do with the walls here and stuff, and some stuff in Europe a little while ago. And a bunch of people called the Devil's Riders. Five men used to carry this cube somewhere. I had a dream about them. They met some king named Otto, and turns out the king is real too, Otto van Bismarck or whatever. I used to have these dreams about these round churches, and in the middle of the church, they have steps and a pillar, and they put the cube on the pillar, and people sit around it, and they would pray and stuff. Um, and it was in Europe. It was really strange. All of this had to do with this cube having to do with some weird black sword, and the black sword, when taken near the cube, lets off some weird sound, and the light happens, and then a city comes down from the sky. Somewhere over in the Middle East, a city comes down from the sky. It's all shiny and stuff, and it's technically not a place in this dimension, in this physical universe. It's a physical recreation of a place that exists in the highest heaven, as if throne of God becomes present on the earth or something, and the earth then gets made into the uh, can't explain what it is. Something, um, something about the house of God. But I've never been a very religious man. That's why all these dreams really weirded me out. And I've done so much research into everyone's religions and all the history and science about this just to try and make some sense of it. But I did find the round churches at some point. There was round churches, and a bunch of people burnt them down. They didn't want them to exist. I don't know what they looked like on the inside, but and the dreams I kept having about these men that always wear black cloaks, long trim cloaks, with a certain stitch of it too. It looks a specific way all the time, and they all would keep this black cube. Something to do with a word called the Vanguard as well. Something to do with Norse mythology, but not Norse mythology. It even goes back to at some point something to do the Teutonic Knights and the House of the Brothers of Bethlehem, House of Mary, Brothers of Mary or something in Bethlehem, some other shit like that, and some guy called Shemhazai. I don't know. None of it ever made sense to me until I started doing research, and apparently Shemhazai is an angel. But from all the weird dreams I had, whatever they write about him is wrong. He's not stuck between worlds. This dude can go wherever the fuck he wants and do whatever the fuck he wants or something. Um, and he can change what he looks like and shit. It's weird. Oh, it's weird. I've been having heaps of weird dreams, but most of them were about the universe. And at some point, oh, I think I've showed everyone these with this book here. I've got all these designs about the Gam stealth suits, the laser weaponry, the this weird light bridge machine. So they create an anomaly of light in space or something. Step into it, and it's like a mini transporter, but it only send you a quick jump across. So you take it with you, and if you can't get across a valley or a bridge, you plug it in, you launch yourself across or whatever. And the last person, I think they tie a rope to them, whatever, and they just yank them across. It's weird. So you can make bridges to get anywhere, and you can't be followed. Oh, lots of really weird stuff. And this is all the same stuff as well as tied into the what I was calling the star drive, the Digerat, the device um, the, that powers the flying saucers that can become as light and move through things. It can move through time. It can move through matter because something about the torsion effect they create it destabilizes the ether field around them, and it makes them pretty much not here in time and space. Very similar the way that they say that the acoustic Tibetan stone vibration offsets the matter, so it partially pops out of our dimension into another space somehow, making the stones light and malleable and shapeable. For anyone that doesn't understand this science, read some of the books I've been posting up, like the source field investigations and all this other stuff. And go back and have a dig into some of the old ether theories, ether science theories, and um, the some of the modern quantum physics is half decent, I guess. But they'll kind of sort of adds weight to the possibility of these ideas. But that's me done. That's all I wanted to share. I tried to do this video like twice now. This is the second time. But yeah, like I said, our universe is not in paired star systems. It's in at least fives. There's a central negative star or whatever you want to call it. It gives off light you can't see or absorbs light, as they say. And then there's the systems that rotate around this in fours. And then in that each there's like stars that rotate around each in fours, and they rotate around the bigger, I think, in force. And this is why I think you go back to the knowledge of the golden age, and you'll have the creation of this physical universe by the goddess. The first pattern painted was the swastika. This universe was formed from the center point, the black sun, the dark star. And around that, all things rotated and spread out and grew. Boom. And now you have an infinite space with infinite planets, infinite life forms. And I believe that the beings that we've come across as gods or whatever, these are just enlightened civilizations that took so much pity on us that they broke the rules and came down and interacted. And uh, they would have more than copped the brunt of punishment for that and watch all the damage they caused here from the good intentions they came with as a result of that. No biggie, but because if you're trying to do good, you're good in my eyes. I don't really give a fuck what everyone else does with it. But my theory is Einstein was close with the whole little particles have a lot of energy inside of them. Yeah, but from a partial German to another German, dude, if you unwind it really slow, that same amount of energy will come out and it won't destroy everything. Or you could be a barbarian, could go get your axe and split the atom and watch it go bang. And that's what I'm saying about that Garrett. It's a slow unwinding of a single particle or a cluster of particles that allows an infinite energy source from no fuel. It works very similar to the way this weird shifting telluric field energy thing works on our planet that creates energy currents in the air for no fucking reason around the pyramids and stuff. I think it is. This guy went and stood around near one of them, and he got a wine bottle, put some shit in there, and it started lighting up. And threatened somebody with it, and the dude freaked out because he thought he was a wizard. It was dope. And this is probably how a lot of old druids and like the Maelin type druids and sages kept the idiots of the world in line because they would have had old knowledge from the golden age, now peak societies, of where these pockets of energy were, how to use them for good and stuff like that, and how to defend yourself with them if necessary to defend these places. And these were where we got the ideas of sacred geography, holy sites, holy groves, holy places where temples should be built upon vectors, upon ley lines, stuff like this. And yeah, that's me done for now. Yeah, and I know I've said Black Sun like 3 times in this, but that doesn't make me a Nazi. Okay, fuck off. I think the Thule Society were about the weird Aryan obsession, and the other dudes wanted to go to space, Gambishtel and stuff.